Hello, everybody, hello. Welcome to Copy That's Whetstone Wednesday, the only show on the internet that's about copywriting and marketing and improving your copywriting and marketing that happens to be on your screen at this very moment. My name is MacIntyre. 20 years of experience writing for money, was a college professor of rhetoric for a number of years, have been writing sales copy and being the entrepreneur, doing the whole entrepreneur thing for the last 10 years. So I know a thing or two about this whole copywriting and making money from writing thing. Those of you who are watching are probably interested in making money from writing words that persuade people to buy things. Well, that is what this Whetstone Wednesday thing is all about. For anybody who signs up on patreon.com/thecopythatshow, we invite people once every 2 weeks or so to submit copy for review on these particular live streams. It's $20 a month. You get to hear feedback from professional copywriters like me, Rod, and Alex. Not Lindsey so much anymore because she's super busy all the time. Yeah, and that's kind of how this whole thing works. That's how this works. That's the introduction spiel. How was that? I'm working on this whole introduction thing. Can everybody hear me okay? Hit Y in the chat if yes. And yes, it is a chiasmus. Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you so much for responding, everybody. I have a ton of copy to look at today, so I'm just going to hop right into it and start talking about people's words, how they can be improved, and hopefully share some concepts that you can use to improve as well. Let's see. Let's start with this guy. All right. So I am currently running Copy That's first ever boot camp. We've never had a boot camp offer before. We invited 20 people to participate. It's sold out in 12 hours. And before our first session, one of the things that I did, the selling points of the boot camp was that I would actively take people's copy and invite them to submit copy that I would then use for businesses that I'm involved with. One of those businesses is Pulse Certifications, a healthcare, BLS, ACLS certification business, online education business, which I have a lot of experience with in healthcare and not. And they had a Black Friday deal that was going out to a cold list. And so I invited everybody to write a lift or some sort of email for that particular campaign. And this was submitted a little bit late because they did not see the notification. But I want to review it very quickly because I promised I would do so. So, subject line, need to get certified or recertified? Save 40% now. Now, when I originally gave feedback on these, the problem that I had with these subject lines was, if you're a nurse and you're getting an email that says, need to get certified, that doesn't immediately connect to these certifications, if that makes sense. Every nurse, every doctor, every lifeguard, every foster parent needs to have a BLS or basic life support certification. People don't connect the word certification with specific types of certification in their mind. And so for me, I do wonder if certified, recertified triggers the sorts of attentive connections that we want to draw. So I don't know if that would really get somebody to pay attention to this or open it in general. Let's see. We have a troll in the chat. That's wonderful. So sorry, I had to ban somebody and hide their comments. Let's see. Oh, I'm doing fantastically. I hope you're doing well as well. Is qualification the only way to move into Lyft? I see mostly people use this. What other ways of disruption are out there? There are lots of ways to disrupt. You can say make a shocking sentence. Andrew Tate is the expert at that. You can share a shocking fact. Pardon me. You can share a shocking. I'm choking. You can share a shocking fact Like, oh God, I'm choking. That's disruptive, certainly. Um, but this, qualifying people, that's just one way to disrupt people and get their attention. It's very common with like, PAS or project problem agitate solution style lifts. Um, because it's very easy to just be like, hey, do you have this problem? Well, keep reading because you've come to the right place. That's kind of formulaic and people sort of pick up on it very, very quickly. There are subtler ways to do it, but you have to be very attentive of how to do it. Other ways to disrupt, and, you can present a shocking statistic. You can, open with a scene of a story or a piece of dialogue. Another thing that you can do very simply is just like, if it's something that people already want or know that they want, just come out with like a really shocking image with a very shocking discount. So that's disruptive as well. Let me see if I can interpret this question. If you're reading a piece of copy and you see something interesting, there are two things you should do. You should note down on the piece of copy what you notice and what it's doing and why that's compelling. And you should also I keep a Google Doc of just ideas. And what I will do is, if I'm reading a piece of copy that does something compelling or interesting or different that I maybe have not thought of before, I will take a note of that in my ideas document and just, make a quick note about it. How do you open and close loops? Well, I would tell you, but you're going to have to give me a moment to explain something else, because I did just start this. That was opening a loop, by the way. So this opening, show me how it works, I don't think works as an opening for this. Because imagine getting an email and it just says Pulse certifications, and you don't know like what this is. You've never gotten an email from us before, and it just says, show me how it works. What works? What is it? Things like that. So there's no, show me how it works only works if there's already curiosity for how it works. So it doesn't really work. And then this is fine. Again, it's a pretty templated way of opening an email. Is this type of certification about to expire? Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to fit renewal? Problem. If yes, then you want to keep reading. Why? Because right now we are here to help you eliminate the stress of last minute renewals, save time with flexible self-paced courses, slash costs with our 40% Black Friday deal. All of this is standard for like, e-com or supplement copy. You see this a lot. And because you see this a lot, its effectiveness has diminished over the years. And so typically, like, whenever you write a set of lifts for a particular product or a particular campaign, you always want to throw something like this in. But also, we're noticing now that like other forms and other structures and like ways of organizing information and copy, those tend to work a little bit better. So let's face it, trying to stay compliant while juggling the demands of nursing, caregiving, or any role in a care-focused profession can feel like too much. Are you up against the clock? Is your certification about to lapse? Scrambling for a solution, but the cost, the time commitment. So I have to ask, what are these bullets doing differently from these bullets? So it feels like we're retreading similar ground here. And it makes sense in the context of the argument, but at the same time, it's not a very, how should I say, economical use of the page space that you have. What if you could stop that cycle with Pulse certifications? You can do all these things that were already sort of listed up here. So it feels like this email was just rewritten twice in the same email, structurally. And so it doesn't feel like we're adding any new information here that we didn't already start with. It felt like it was more powerful. Like here, I don't have edit access. I wonder if I can make a copy. Here, let's make a copy. Yeah. and this really is a problem solving exercise. So how do we communicate all this effectively? Feeling overwhelmed, trying to fit in a renewal. Why? Help you. All right. And maybe we would change these emojis to the ones that they had before. But let's read this email now. Is your BLS, ACLS, or PALS certification about to expire? Feeling overwhelmed? Frustrated by the thought of paying full price for something that feels just like another chore? If you answered yes to any of these questions, keep reading. Why? Because right now, Pulse Certification is here to help you renew your certifications easy, be confident that you're fully compliant, no more last minute panic, save 40% now, limited time offer. Here's what you need to do next. I would say, here's what you need to do to amend the CTA. This is not going to be a needle mover, but this is something that I would do just because I prefer specificity. Here's what you need to do to capture this limited time deal or this limited time offer. Use code Black Friday at checkout to save 40% on any certification or bundle. Start saving and stay certified. And then I would just leave it there. And like, oh, this goes on. I would probably just cut this. If it's a lift and it's because again, I don't know if you need all this. You're just a few easy steps from being certified or recertified. Select the certification that matches your needs. Sign up for the free account. Take your test. Again, you see this very commonly in like e-commerce marketing. There's an email that I think we reviewed relatively recently in one of these streams that has this. And I think there was a Black Friday email that had this. But it's one of those things where 5 steps is a bit much for an email. I would condense this a little bit. And also, like, I just don't think the email really needs it. Imagine waking up stress-free, knowing your certifications are up to date, your compliance is secure, and time and money is spent wisely. Don't wait, this offer ends soon. Here's a stress-free certification. Yeah, I just don't know if all this is necessary to persuade people. And also, with each of those images, unless you have a very engaged list and like your deliverability is really, really high, each of these images would increase the likelihood that your email is going to go to spam. Click this link. If it's a lift, it's a very rare lift that needs to be that long. And if it's an e-commerce product that it makes sense that there would be multiple steps, I can see that multiple steps working. If I had more time, I would love to A/B test this, but the campaign has ended and things like that. But one thing that I've definitely found in my career for lifts is you very quickly want to disrupt and then build some intrigue. Maybe we can expand this a little bit more and then go for the click. Just clear CTA right there. And here, again, there isn't really a whole lot of selling that happens on the page itself. And so you would do more selling on the email to compensate for that. But for something that people know they want, if they have a particular problem, that's not always necessary. So yeah, in a case like this, they really just need a reminder and a reason to buy. And when you find that people are more on the aware side of these states of awareness spectrum, that's really all you need to do. Just be like, hey, you need this thing. If you want to buy it now, it's really, really cheap. So they have a clear catalyst or reason to buy. Altiture Confidential types of engagement email or lists. So the Altiture Confidential was a blog. So Altiture Confidential was a new, like an e-letter, basically. That's, those engagement, we only call them engagement emails now. That's a relatively recent occurrence. Like it used to be just called an e-letter. And businesses would send real like fulfillment, like real stories, real information, not sales stuff to people, to actually engage with them, to entertain them, to delight them, to inspire them, etc., etc. They weren't lifts. A lift is designed to get you from this thing to this thing. No other purpose. So, any advice to keep everything I learned so far in my mind while writing copy? The info keep increasing, and then it's hard to juggle everything together. In my opinion, really what you want to be doing is like writing and then revising. And what you'll find is that you want to keep as many things as possible in your mind as possible when you're revising. But when you're writing, you just want to get stuff onto the page. And what you'll find is that recursive behavior of writing a thing, revising a thing with the concepts you have in mind, and then rewriting a thing, you're going to find that it's going to be much easier for you to recall all the things that you need to keep in mind as you're going. Are these worth learning? What, newsletters? I mean, if you want to be a guru, I guess. This is posted on YouTube. I'm so confused. All right. So let's move on from there. This is another email that was submitted late. Same context. Pulse certification. Pulse highlights success. This would be a great headline if this were a case study email. So, like, there are certain types of emails where it will focus on telling the story of a particular person. You'll see blog posts and SEO posts that do the same thing, where really the email is all about highlighting the success of an individual who's used the program or used the product to great success. So Pulse Highlight Success would be a great headline for that purpose. Not sure if it would be a great thing from the lift. No, the answer is no. The first two, yes, but the rest of it is going to come from Patreon supporters. So we have a whole lot to cover today. Shop our biggest deal of the year before it's too late. Enter Black Friday coupon code at checkout for 40% off any BLS, ACLS, and PAL certifications, recertifications, courses, or bundles. One thing that people very commonly mistake is they'll write their sentence and they'll have like, here's a list, and then here's a list. And usually it's a little bit better, because I understand what's going on here. You're hoping to cover all of your bases. Better is to have either one list or just focus on the one thing that you think the prospect is going to want the most. For example, recertifying and then : BLS, ACLS, and PALS. Because here's the thing. Most of the people that would be receiving this email, as I mentioned the assignment, they were already healthcare professionals, which means they already had this, at least one of these. So we would be focusing on people that needed to recertify. And then to avoid lists and confusion and long sentences, we could just bullet out the things that this is for. Another thing too is people want to make sure that they're properly recertified. People do not necessarily want courses or bundles. So these are things that you need to weigh in mind. This is going to be stronger than these. Pulse, and I love the formatting that this is doing. Let me zoom in a little bit. I like the attention to like the almost branded formatting that's going on here. It's a subtle, but it can be a very potent touch. Pulse offers career paths for nurses, paramedics, and foster parents, camp counselors. I don't know if that's what this business is. The future of health is treating the whole person's physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Professional development protects. I feel like rather than offering this feels like a non sequitur. Like it's, this is not really career paths. This is more like you need these certifications in order to do the job of nursing, in order to be a foster parent, etc. So better would be to like emphasize that people need certifications, and also they need continuing education credits, for example, to keep up with their work. And so Pulse offers not career paths, but continuing education for these people. Certifications are not just paper, it's paper that saves lives. I would just do certifications are not just paper, they save lives too. And then I would have like some sort of anecdote or story after that. Based on latest guidelines and standards from the Joint Commission. And this is all from the website itself. Run, but take your pulse. There's only a limited time to sign up. This feels a little too clever, too cutesy, and it doesn't really fit with the context of the email. It feels like that's something that I would recommend cutting. Click here for your 40% discount code. Yeah, I don't know if this is working entirely as a Black Friday email. I see that it's doing a lot of things, but really what this needs to be doing is just really focusing down on like, who's the one person we're talking to? What's the one thing that we're trying to make them understand about this offer? It feels like there's just too much being thrown in. And so it's violating the rule of one, which if you try to do many things, oftentimes you will accomplish nothing. So that's, I think, the biggest mistake that this particular email is making. Let's see. Yes, this is the case. If you go to the live tab of our YouTube, you will see countless examples of What's So Wednesday streams that we have, set up. Yeah, and I feel like because it's violating the rule of one, it lacks a little bit of coherence. So I think that this email would be stronger if it just cohered to one specific thing that it was trying to push. All right. So let's dive into the first email that was submitted from a Patreon member. All right. So the reader is going to be UK-based business owners that want to improve their SEO marketing efforts. Most of long-term readers know my opinion of SEO. They're solution aware of SEO, meaning they are already convinced they need to improve their SEO. Ugh. I've spoken to so many business owners who are just like, we need to do SEO. I'm just like, bro, you do not need SEO for your roof tiling company. What are you thinking? There is no idea. The offer is to get a 1-hour SEO consultation from Conrad for $199. The action is to click the CTA virtual landing page. They are improving. This hero section needs a little bit of work. Let's see. Let me see something really quick. So all of you can Control I or right click and then inspect element. Let me see something. So we got H1. This was designed in Elementor. Let's see. What is this class? This is H2. Now, if we were to analyze the SEO of this SEO experts page, I'd say it's actually pretty strong so far. So we have this H1, H2, this correct hierarchy. Let me see about this. This is an H2 class. So here's something the Google spiders will look at and see. They will treat this bit of copy, global SEO expertise for well-known mid to large size corporations, pretty much the same as enterprise SEO consultant and fractional head of SEO, specializing in large-scale cross-functional organic search growth strategies. Have you guys noticed that SEO it doesn't sound like it was written for humans. It sounds like it was written for robots. That's because SEO, for the most part, is. So there's just a lot of stuffing in here. It's rarely ever good copy, but again, SEO is mainly writing for robots. So the technical SEO that's going on here, maybe a little bit of an issue. If I still had access to it, I used to have Ahrefs, Ahrefs or whatever. I would love to see what the page load speed of this would look like, but I don't really care that much. This is all written fine for somebody who's writing for a robot and not for a human. Like, for example, let's actually inspect this. Let's view it as a mobile thing. How many of you are going to sit there and read this? Like again, I know you're going to ask me to zoom in. I'm not going to zoom in because the whole point that I'm trying to make here is that if you're looking at a phone at small print text and you get a paragraph, a center formatted paragraph like this, are you going to read it? No one is going to read that. So this is, yeah, original landing page I'm approving. Again, like it was written, it feels like it was written by a robot and for a robot. So there's definitely room for improvement there. Google, listen, I've done a bunch of SEO. I've done a bunch of SEO writing. So I know what I'm talking about when I talk about the fact that SEO fucking sucks. It sucks for everybody. It sucks for most businesses. It sucks to write. I know. I've done it a lot. I've made a lot of money doing it too. And I've made enough money to know that nobody should be doing this. A few people should be doing this. So when it comes to this particular thing, one thing that I have to caution you guys about is that like Google's algorithm is constantly changing. So best practices for SEO are constantly going to change. When I was writing SEO versus now, Google has introduced sort of more semantic context, like deeper understanding of the semantics and the network of meanings and connotations that people have when they write a particular thing. They still prefer information to be in a very hierarchical, so you have like your main idea that's in your headline, your sub ideas are going to be your H2s, your sub ideas are going to be your H3s, and so on and so forth. The Google spiders love hierarchy, especially the Google snippets. And so, yeah, you want to write in a way where it's just like, you're answering a full question, where it's not like, how should I say? If somebody asks you, did you pick that up? And you're not supposed to answer yes in SEO. You're supposed to give like a full, like fleshed out, like recasting the original question as a new sentence in order to capture that Google attention. Regarding the blue box, so bullets have worked there. Here, let's look at this. Let's go back to desktop view. Let's get out of the inspect. I don't know if bullets would work here. Honest to goodness, I think that just having this dead space be smaller and having the social proof come up and then having a little bit of this down below would be more than enough. I think that would be much stronger. Oh, lead generation driving traffic to landing pages. Easy. You make a squeeze page with 10 different headlines, and then you write either Google ads or Facebook ads with multiple different hooks. Then you proceed to test which hook does the best in terms of clicks and which squeeze pages do the best in terms of signups. And what you're trying to do is trying to get the lowest CPL you possibly can. There you go. Here's what I will say as an answer to this question. Should a copywriter know a lot about SEO? No. Keep in mind that like whenever somebody on a YouTube video comes up with like some, like this is my fancy like, full stack marketing hack or something like that, some name that's clearly been pulled out of their ass. SEO was that at one point. Like some marketer asshole invented it in like 1996 or 7, purely as a way to position their agency higher in the minds of businesses that had no idea how to deal with or be online, period. This is back in the day where like individual freelancers could get jobs making web pages for HBO, for example. That's a real example. I think you should know enough about SEO to be able to talk intelligently about it. I think you should know enough about SEO to understand the sort of bare bones basics of how to do it if you're ever called upon to do it. But I don't think you need to know a lot about SEO. In fact, I, generally speaking, would advise people to avoid doing it if possible. But the world is large, and I'm not going to tell you not to make money. So there you go. That's because we're self-conscious, man. All right. Let's actually go to the copy. Actual homepage copy. So this is an improvement of this original page. So instead of enterprise SEO consulting, we have potentially give me an hour and I'll help you boost your search rankings on Google, organic website traffic, qualified leads and sales. Not sure how to get your website to show up on Google? Book a 1-hour consultation with me and I'll show you how to rank higher step by step. 100% personalized and tailored to your business, no cookie cutter advice. This is actually all pretty good. This is not terrible. I also like the CTA. Enterprise SEO consultant. Yeah, this page has problems. But this, I think, is stronger. Book a consultation with Conrad. Maybe include his picture in there as well. I love this social proof. That's pretty good. What do you guys think? Do you think this is stronger than enterprise SEO consulting? Specializing in large-scale cross-functional organic search growth strategies? Yeah, I think this is much stronger. This provides cred. We can certainly weave in more cred here. The only thing that I would suggest gently, not everybody likes this, is, well, think about why somebody would want this. Why do people want more qualified leads and sales? Because it makes more money. And since this is organic, it's more money with less cost. It becomes an automatic money machine when you have really good content marketing that's up and running. And so that's why you want to have SEO. Now, does this properly, how should I say, emphasize that fact? No. Does it need to? No. More sophisticated audiences can sometimes fill in the blanks. Would this be stronger if you were able to put something like that in there? I think maybe. So all things to keep in mind. So, and yes, definitely better for human reading. People do agree that this actually feels like it was written for people. This is not an email. This is going to be a landing page. Headline Complex 2, SEO consulting tailored to UK businesses who want... Okay, here's what I like about this. This is a call out. It has the specific thing. So this is pretty strong so far. And then you have the benefits. Higher search rankings on Google, more organic website traffic, more qualified. Again, I would maybe tweak one of these benefits to include what this all means for people, for business owners. More money, less work. That's the idea. Not sure how to get your website to show up on Google? Book a 1-hour consultation and I'll show you. You can always book a 1-hour consultation with, X year experience SEO veteran Conrad, and he'll show you how to rank higher step by step. Something like that. So, there are certainly ways that you can inject more credibility into this, and that's something that I would suggest. Like, you don't want to have like a whole sentence that's like, I've been doing SEO and building businesses with content and SEO marketing for years. And then you have other stuff. No, you want to gently weave it in as best as you possibly can. Watch my masterclass on dimensionalization for more information about how to do that. I like the social proof. Imagine pitching to enterprise level SEO consulting firm saying their webpage sucks. Maybe kind of telling enterprise don't care or know much. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I can see this coming up in a Google search. I can imagine, like, I wonder if we can spoof this. If we go to Google and we search for, let's see, enterprise SEO consult UK. Who comes up first? First, the sponsored links. He's number 2 when you look him up. Obviously not as good as Studio Hawk SEO, but in terms of actually like showing up for SEO, this person did a relatively decent job. How good is their page? I have no idea. I like this better automatically already. Oh, come on. Just go. Pop-ups, go away. All right. Already this web page is a little bit better. And this is their main competitor, as in they're jockeying for position in terms of enterprise SEO consulting. This is number 1, whereas our man, he's number 2, which, considering how shitty this website is, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Definitely some experience there. So here's what's going good about this competitors page. Clear call out. Enterprise SEO is a must for medium to large size websites looking to take their website's performance to the next level. Don't love that vague benefit there, that vague goal, but it works. Sometimes it works. We have a wealth of experience helping, look at this, credibility right out the gate. Helping enterprise clients towards their organic search goals, so get in touch to see how we can assist. Simple, straightforward, super, super straightforward. Very, very beneficial. This feels, what do you think? This feels, what would I want to see better? This is definitely like problem focused, whereas this is just more positive. This is a must for these kinds of businesses or websites in particular looking to take this thing to the next level. I think I like this better and this better, but I think that there's a lot to learn from this page. Like, I would really go through this page. Like, for example, like, look at this. Like, let's zoom in a little bit. It's so much easier to navigate and read. And one of the things that Google has been doing recently is really privileging time on page and also like usability, like functionality. Like, look at all these different links and look at how easy it is to understand everything. Like, nothing is more than 4 lines. It's all very easy to read. Like, it feels very personal. It feels very credible. This feels good. This feels less good, but also I can see why it's ranked 2nd. You understand what I mean? So I would definitely look at this particular page. And like, this just gives such a great breakdown. Like, go watch I did a review of a sales page that did something like between $4 and $14 million. I forget what, but it was structured almost exactly like this. The thing, the call out, the benefit. So yeah, I like this page. I don't like this page so much, but it's number 2. So Hopefully we can improve it. Yeah, is this you? You want to generate more traffic on your website, but you don't know how to do it. You tried everything, nothing worked. One thing that I think that this is doing better than the new copy is it sort of just automatically takes for granted the notion that certain businesses are going to want to increase their page rank. And I feel like you don't need to spend a whole lot of time doing this. 3 bullets would probably be all you really need. And just really emphasize, like, maybe do it in like this, where you have like 3 different call out boxes with who this is for. That way it's a little bit more organized, and like we get very quickly from like, okay, this is for you if, and then we go right into proof of the different services and what they have to offer. If you can relate, let me show you how you can start ranking higher ASV via a consultation. One thing that I can already tell you is that a lot of this is better copy, but not going to be like optimized for search. The reason why this unreadable page is ranking so high on Google is because it says all the right things in the right order, in the right hierarchy. It's, it hits all the buttons. So when the Google Spider says, oh, this person's searching for enterprise SEO consulting, the Google Spider knows to show this, even though the page is not super great. So you need to find a good balance between like what this is doing, what this is doing, and what you are trying to do, which is trying to get more people to book that consultation. Now, here's the thing. Nobody's going to want to, book a consultation unless they know that you are reputable, credible, and that you can deliver on the things that you are promising. Again, nobody's waking up in the morning. No business owner is waking up in the morning and going, God fucking damn it, I need an SEO consultant in my life. Nobody's doing that. Not a single person. And so the cool thing about this is it just right off the bat, enterprise SEO is a must for these things. Just automatically saying like this, you want this. If you have this, you need this. So things to keep in mind. Actually, listen, pop-ups are annoying, but they work. They really work. I actually, I own a tutoring business in Texas, and we found, because we had a book a consultation or book a call, like set up your tutoring appointment. Is that a daughter right here? Is she trying to get in here? Yeah. All right. She can come in and say hi. My daughter doesn't want to see me right now. All right. Anyway, we increased the actual results and response on that page, the tutoring business page, by just including a pop-up, and the pop-up just SMS messaged the business owner. Easy peasy. Oh yeah, this is entirely a possible thing. Where does Google get time on page data from? Your time on page. If you've ever seen the Google Analytics dashboard, let me see if I can pull that up for you quickly. Ugh. Okay. So this is the back end of like Google's data. So this is when you have a web page and you have Google connected to it, this is all the data that they're getting from your page. All the events, all the views, active users, key events, things like that. You can go to reports. Average engagement time is 3 minutes and 36 seconds, things like that. So, and like we can see like where people are coming from. So Google is always collecting this kind of data. So the number 2 spot of people who view the copy of that web page is they're from India. And then beneath the UK is people from Vietnam. So shout out to all my Indian, British, and Vietnamese homies. Canada, you need to step up your game. Philippines, you need to step up your game. Nigeria, you need to step up your game. 11 users in the last minute, one of whom was from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the other was from Czechia, and another was from Lebanon. All right. Interesting. Anyway, this is what the back end of Google Analytics looks like if you've never seen it before. And it's reasonably easy to set. Like once you have a website, you just go to analytics.google.com, you set up your analytics dashboard, and Google will just scrape data from your website. So would you tell us the topic of the video where you explain sales pages? Do you mean explain the topic? The topic was sales pages, in particular, a single sales page. It was this one right here. How this landing page made $4.5 million right there. So go there. Listen, I exaggerate. I use hyperbole. It's very rare that people are going to want SEO. And so if you're going to spend all this copy, like getting people to book a consultation, you really want to emphasize like what SEO can do for a business and what you want. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I would say that this is a more sophisticated take on SEO than whom we're talking about right now. Oh, this person's thinking like a copywriter. And the answer is absolutely yes. I have actually seen people do this. Where like people like SEO experts and consultants will actually like have screenshots of like Google search and like their results for other businesses and have little swoopy arrows that point to like, look at this, page for this like face cream business, ranked number 2 on Google. Look at this business, ranked number 1 on Google, things like that. And then I would have some facts about like the homepage. I forget what the statistic is, but it's like something like 78% of people click the first link in a Google search, and then something like 12% click the second link, and then like 3% click the third link, and then by the time you get to page 2 of Google, it's just a dead zone. Nobody ever clicks on that. And so those are all facts that you can weave in to make this copy stronger. Oh yeah, well, here's the thing. Is Neil Patel making money doing SEO for other businesses now, or is he making his money selling information about SEO? I'm just saying. I know good SEO practices from 10 years ago. If I tried to do stuff now, it wouldn't work so well. Like I could definitely do it for like local businesses and stuff like that, but there's an easy way to juice stuff. Like, for example, and I'll show you guys, power washing driveway near me. And look at this. Right up top, we have Boca Raton paver cleaning, paver steam cleaning. And look at this page. This is good SEO. The perfect paver co of Palm Beach Gardens. Look at that. That's a good pop-up. Now, for this kind of business, this is a good pop-up. And then boom, we have the map. We have, provides paver sealing and all of this. We specialize in steam cleaning pavers and paver sealing. This is keyword stacking. It works really well for these kinds of businesses. Anybody who's read No Man's Niche know that these are the kinds of pages me and Lindsey made. We made a ton of money doing this kind of stuff. Our crews are extremely professional, uniformed, and experienced with not only cleaning and sealing pavers, but also installing pavers. Let's do a quick count of how many times pavers appears on this page. 27 times. 27 freaking times. Clear before and after. Good stuff. I don't even know if this is the same image. Could be. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that this is a sponsored ad. And if you are standing up a new site or a new web page for a service and you have SEO'd it, like you've written it to be good for SEO, and you want it to be applicable to certain zip codes or certain regions, here's what you do. You can really quickly boost its search ranking by just paying for some ads. Specifically narrowed down to the region that you serve, so that whenever somebody searches for power washing driveway near me, this shows up. And what's going to happen is that people are going to click on the ad, and that's going to tell Google more information about the page, about the people who click on the page, things like that. And that is ultimately going to boost the ranking. So it's a very good way to sort of, how should I say, game the Google algorithm, which is just spend $5 a day boosting a well-optimized page, and you're good to go. You don't even need to have good copy. You just need to really repeat a lot of what people would be searching for. So there you go. So it has started to, and this is keyword stacking is the word that you're looking for. And yeah, keyword stuffing will absolutely downrank, but I've seen plenty of pages that will have keyword stuffing. That keyword stuffing, like for example, is like you would go to the bottom of this page, and I've definitely reviewed some stuff before on stream. And like imagine in this bottom section down here beneath request and estimate, there was just like 500 keywords. That would be an example of keyword stuffing. Now here's the thing. I've seen contemporary pages who do that, who maybe were grandfathered in, and they still rank #1 on Google. So it's never an either or thing. It's always a risk that is not absolute. So keep that in mind. There is an architecture to persuasion, especially for sales pages. You know, we've found that generally speaking, certain things in a certain order tend to do better than just saying stuff. I'll give you a clear example. If you look on this page, you see the headline, you see social proof, and then you see a call to action with some proof point, and then some credibility. What do we see here? We see a headline, we see a lead with more information, we see a demonstration, we see social proof, and then we see a CTA. And then we have a little bit more credibility down here. So these pages, while being very different, very, very different, still follow more or less the same structure. And if you analyze enough sales pages, you will start to notice a pattern. And what you want to do, analyze about 300 to 400. And what you're going to find is that, generally speaking, you'll find the same patterns across most of them. And that's just a Best Buy test thing. Anyway, we have to get back to reviewing the actual copy. So that was my mini lesson on SEO. Nobody's ever going to watch that again. that was something. All 30 of you just got something that we'll never make a video about. So there you go. If you can relate, then let me show you how to start ranking higher ASAP via a consultation with me personally, Conrad, to identify exactly how to get you to rank higher on Google SERPs. We'll ID the biggest bottleneck holding you back, and I'll show you what to do to start ranking higher in the shortest amount of time. Yeah. Here's how my SEO consultations help these businesses increase organic traffic and revenue. Case studies. So here's what I like about this. This is showing the clear monetary benefit of doing this. For that reason, I think that this is going to be stronger. Why book an SEO consultation? I wonder if this would be better up here instead of this. Like, I wonder if we can cut this, move this higher, and then go straight into like this. I still think that there needs to be a cred section. Like the one thing that this page is really missing is a clear, like, here are my qualifications and what I've done. But these sort of double as that. So I'm not going to knock this too hard. Overall, I think the person who wrote this seems like they know what they're doing. There's a few things that are going a little bit wrong, but here, here's an immediate thing that I immediately notice. How it works. Your 3 simple steps to higher rankings and organic traffic. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if this is working for me. I think that if you're going to be cute, you might as well foreground that. Like, if like you would end this section and say, there's just one catch, ... And then the next headline would be, you're going to have to work weekends. Sorry. And then the copy below that is going to be like an explanation of like, you're going to have so many new customers that you're going to have to, put in the extra hours and stuff like that. And that's of course going to disqualify some people, but it might, bring some people in. And then, just like these people, then you go straight into your social proof, which I think is good. Here's why I like this. Here's why I like this. Your competitors are already capitalizing on this opportunity. Do you guys know what emotion this is pulling at? FOMO, urgency, scarcity. You're falling behind. The people that you want to be ahead of are already doing this. So I like ending here. This is pretty good. Exactly. Yeah, have more questions, contact me. Yeah, overall, I would say that this page is pretty strong. It's definitely good enough to submit. What I would suggest, if you're going to submit this to an SEO consultant, one thing that you're going to run into trouble with is the fact that this page, as I have read it, is not optimized for search. And so your search engine optimization specialist is going to be like, hey, wait a minute. So one thing that you might consider doing is showing as a proof point that, like, I ranked number 2, the old version of this page ranked number 2, like I ranked this business right here, and like actually show, like, demonstrate proof of what this person can do. Because the first thing that might come up is like, does this person show up when I search for this person? That's a common objection that some businesses are going to have. Especially the actual group, especially Conrad. So keep that in mind. Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, listen, Hough, tell that to my video editors, because they're the ones who pick from these streams, and so they might decide to completely skip it altogether. I have no idea what they're going to pick next. It's always a delight and a surprise to me. So, all right, so this is pretty good. I would play with some stuff, but at the same time, like, this is all stuff that, like, except for a few glaring things, I would personally improve. I think the copy is strong. I've seen this person's copy before. It's gotten a lot stronger. So definitely a good job. Very, very good work. Study. Hold on. This page. Study this page, because this is number 1 ranked. So does that mean they're doing great business? I have no fucking idea. But I do like the way that this page is laid out and the way that their copy is interacting with the actual form of what they're talking about. So things to keep in mind. I also love this case study. If you can link to a case study or present a case study in your marketing materials, that's actually very good for SEO. And this page is, yeah, I can't imagine trying to load this on like, an older computer. Anyway, that is enough of that. Pretty good stuff. Yeah, I think that what I said is, I'll just leave it at that. All right. I don't know if he's watching right now, but I think that was Simon. It was probably Simon. Anyway, if you have any questions, just hit me up in the chat. All right. So next piece of copy, email to Gilia. I don't know who Gilia is. This is from Jay. Context. A gym brand that sells women's clothes. My idea here is that they don't have a website and sell on Amazon. They, of course, face strong composition because of this. I think that means competition. So I'm going to sell them on how I can get much more traffic to them with their own website. So, okay, sorry, the sentence was confusing. They sell on Amazon, they do not have a website. It's totally fine, especially if you're a dropshipper. Subjects. Here's the best way to remove competition. SEO is much simpler than you think. Bit personal. How much profit do you lose to fees on Amazon? Oh, so this is a cold outreach offering website building services. Okay. Hey, Gilia, when's your next collection coming out? I understand the ease of selling on Amazon, very little maintenance, and everybody and their mother is on Amazon, already looking for things to buy. Listen, Alex is the cold email expert of Copy That. I don't like cold emails very much. All the cold emails I've ever sent have been responded to positively because I only ever sent them after I had a whole lot of credibility behind me. But hey, Gilia, when's your next collection coming out? If you're doing that to personalize, to make you seem human. But it's clear that you don't actually care about the answer to this because you go right into saying, I understand the ease of selling on Amazon. You're pitching. So rather than asking a question, which again is great if you're doing a whole bait and switch style of outreach, which some people advocate for and which I think is dubious. Let's just say that. This automatically going straight into here, if like you're writing personally and everybody and their mother is on Amazon already looking for things to buy, but there are a few limitations and these are all important. I'll quickly mention these below. You must follow their guidelines. Competition is right there. You can't really express your passions, fees, and many more. Here's the thing. For somebody selling on Amazon, are all of these things going to be things that they're unaware of or things that they find so problematic that they would not want to sell on Amazon anymore? For me, that answer is obviously no, because none of these are a deal breaker because they are selling on Amazon. Does that make sense? And so I don't know if this is the right approach to the rhetorical argument that you're trying to make. The argument that you're trying to make is, listen, I see that you're selling on Amazon and you seem to be doing great. However, I also notice that you don't seem to be selling via your own website. Now, I don't need to be the one to tell you that Amazon collects a lot of fees. Amazon also has a lot of control over what you can say and what you can post. everything that I'm saying to you right now is the copy that I would write in my version of this cold email. And what you kind of see there is that, yes, it's direct, yes, it's persuasive, but also it doesn't dick around as much. So stop dicking around. Like, actually get into the pitch, be really relevant and really understanding of the person. Listen, if this works, if you send this and this works, let me know. I would love to be proven wrong. I'll only learn. However, I suspect that this is not going to work because it's not really keeping the reader in mind. You can easily remove all these issues by having your own website. On your own website, you can really sell your product. You can tell everyone why it's unique. For example, I remember on a post that you made, you mentioned how your leggings use pet hair resistant fabric. You can make an entire article or blog on your website about this. On that page, you can go really in depth about it. From my experience, I've learned that long writing does lead to higher conversions. Conversions is one of those edge case words where it's like, it's technically marketing jargon. Most people do understand what it means, but my preference would be to tell you to always opt for simpler, more normie language. Avoid the marketing jargon. My favorite books on rhetoric. I don't have any favorite books on rhetoric. I mean, Aristotle. Beyond that, Toulmin wrote some good books. Stanley Fish wrote some good books. But a lot of books on rhetoric nowadays are more like discourse analysis, like understanding the deeper nuances of how people communicate with each other in certain contexts and certain time frames. It's a very niche topic. Not a whole lot of people are writing non-textbook for popular readers books about rhetoric. You understand what I mean? Difficult thing to thread. But Aristotle's rhetoric, that's sort of the basis. Everything else has just been a footnote on that. There's also some ancient Romans who wrote a lot about rhetoric and rhetorical appeals that were pretty strong, but it was, again, all just reconfigurations of what the Greeks did. Anyway, I understand what this is trying to do. This is trying to sell people on the need for a website. My question for the writer of this is, do you really think you need this many words to accomplish that? Do you need to say on your own website you can really sell your product? What is that sentence doing? Oh, and just to go back to this question really quickly, if you've ever heard of NLP or neuro-linguistic processing or programming or whatever the fuck, I don't even know. I'm bad with acronyms. NLP. There's a great book called Sleight of Mouth that is all about reframing. And really, if you've studied rhetoric, you look at this book, Sleight of Mouth, and you go, oh, this is just rhetoric. But, it's sophistry, basically. So I would look into Sleight of Mouth if you're interested in books on rhetoric that are written with marketers and copywriters in mind. So, and yeah, Maris, absolutely. Half the copy here, I think, could be cut. This is just going on too long. Now, maybe you know all this. Maybe you tried before and it was too complicated, or you didn't get the results you want. I can help you. I can do all of what I mentioned above and more. If you are interested, please reply back to me when you are free so we can book a call. I have to ask you guys, everybody in the chat right now, all 32 of you, 31 of you, I just lost one. If you were a seller on Amazon and you had leggings to sell, would this email appeal to you? Did this person make an argument for standing up their own shop, their own website, independent of Amazon. Closes week. Not really. That's kind of what I'm feeling too. This email isn't working for me. Now, I can speak as a business owner. One of the things that's difficult is if you have, it's not a needle mover. It feels like a bunch of, I don't know. It's not strong. Again, test it, report back, let me know if we're all wrong. We'll all learn something. In the meantime, this isn't working. It, goes on too long. It's too fluffy. There's plenty of grammatical errors. There's, as outreach, it's not really persuading me to want your service. Even if I understand intuitively the benefits of having my own website. Here's one reason for that. If you have a store and you're selling primarily through Amazon, a lot of it, what Amazon does is they will link up with a 3PL or third-party logistics provider and fulfill things through Amazon. Now, as a business owner, I have to think, like, if I wanted to set up a Shopify store or set up a website that did not fulfill through Amazon, how would I send people their leggings? If you build this website for me, what's the big objection that I'm going to have? Well, Amazon makes everything easier for me. That's why I use it. So will having this website increase my sales? Well, I mean, I don't know. You can certainly embed links to Amazon products on a website. I've seen that done. A lot of affiliate websites do that. A lot of websites exist only to link back to Amazon. The whole career is built that way. Is that what you're offering? I have no idea because it's not in the email. If you're offering a whole different revenue stream of sales, are you going to set up the back end of that for me? Do you understand what I'm saying here? Just thinking through this from the business owner's perspective, you immediately start brushing up against objections that are not covered by this email. These are things that you need to think about when you're writing personalized cold outreach. There are some services that a lot of businesses generally need that you could probably get away with doing more programmatic, more formulaic outreach. I'm thinking of, SEO is one. Repurposing content to create email onboarding. Landing pages. CRO is a big one. You can definitely be like, hey, listen, I looked at your web pages. They don't seem to be optimized for conversion. I'm an expert at that. Here's my proof, and then click here to book a call with me. If you're doing CRO, conversion rate optimization, you don't need a whole lot of personalized stuff because a lot of people want to improve their conversions, and they often hire consultants to do that. There's a natural fit there. Less the case with emails and email marketing. With this website building, a lot of people reach out to businesses offering to build websites. The thing that you need to think of as a copywriter who's also offering the service is you have to think about what their other objections are or may be. And for an Amazon seller, the ones that I brought up are going to be big ones. Yeah. He should have led with what Amazon business owners care about, their bottom line. This person has no understanding of SEO whatsoever. It would take a lot of work to rank at the top of Google. Well, this is an email, so there would be no SEO. We don't want SEO in this. So, anywho, those are my thoughts on this particular email. I hope that was helpful and provided some insights for you. All right, we're moving on to Kristen. Referring to their final line. Thank you, Cody. Here, let me just. I can help you. I can do all that I mentioned above and more. Oh, the final line of this page. On top of that, using SEO, you can make that page show on the top of Google when people are searching anything related to that. I'm going to, rather than talk about why I think this is a misstep, because I've already covered that, I want to draw more attention to the actual line by line, word by word writing. What is that referring to here? That, in this clause of one sentence, is referring to long writing that does better and leads to higher conversions. Okay. Using SEO, you can make that page what page? The long writing page? Show up on the top of Google when people are searching anything related to that. What is that referring to here? Anybody can answer. Are we talking, like, is the that referring to like the specific pentagram patterns and runes needed to summon like some occult demon? Palemun from the movie Hereditary? No. Reread your stuff and pay attention to your function and reference words. If you do that, your copy is going to be a lot stronger. Oh yeah, I have no idea what that is referring to. We all hope it's a demon. If you just go through your copy, like reread it closely, looking for your function words that you're repeating that don't actually mean anything, that only reference other things, your copy is going to be stronger. So please keep that in mind. All right, we are moving on to Kristen. View, let's go there. So Kristen's context is, this was inspired by a story of two men who fought in the Civil War. I'm not sure what it is, though. Maybe a landing page or a Google ad or a Lyft or a sales email. Well, let's just read it. The story of two women on a Saturday, 8:30 p.m. In two suburban kitchens across the same town, two women faced the same chaos. Tired kids yelling, Legos spilled across the floor. If you're using copy, Legos is a trademark name. Just keep that in mind. You can get sued. You won't get sued. They will send a cease and desist to you, asking you very politely to take it down, or we will fucking sue you. That's what will happen. So Legos, trademarked. Spilled across the floor, a mountain of dirty dishes in the sink. Both worked full time. Both cooked dinner every night. Both washed dishes before bed. Their Saturday evenings, however, couldn't have been more different. Ooh. So in storytelling, this would be a hook. This would be, what we would say is that this would be an iterative event. It is an event that happens many times, that is narrated once. Time in storytelling is a very complicated subject. I went into it just a little bit in my storytelling masterclass. It's in the Platinum Collection and the Patreon and stuff like that. But very oftentimes, a short story, a good short story, and this applies to copywriting too, if you want to show like the start of like some incipient event that leads to some climax of conflict, the easiest way to do that is to set the story up with what's called an iterative event. And the reason why you want to do that is so that you can have a but one day everything changed kind of moment. This is iterative. This is a but one thing is different kind of moment. So you'll see there's a hook. We decline in tension a little bit as we go through what's called exposition, and then you start rising action again when you start identifying difference. And yeah, this seems to be swiping the famous $1 billion sales letter, A Tale of Two Men. But apparently Kristen says this was inspired by the story of two men who fought in the Civil War. So I actually don't know that sales letter off the top of my head. Anyway, one woman, triumphant, watched Netflix with her husband and took a long hot shower. The other, exhausted, went straight to bed. The difference between these two women: the first woman chose a dishwashing liquid that saved her time, energy, and money on hot water. The second woman grabbed the store brand, the one that was on sale. Now, I'm going to teach you something about storytelling and copywriting, and copy logic altogether. This applies to absolutely everybody who's watching right now. When you say the difference between these two women, don't answer immediately. Build more drama. The difference between these two women, well, it wasn't their energy levels. It wasn't the fact that one had more work than the other. It certainly wasn't the fact that, and then you would throw a third thing in. In fact, if we had to pinpoint the only difference between these two women, ... only one thing really comes to mind. The first woman chose the right dishwashing liquid that saved her these things. And the second woman grabbed the generic store brand. Period. The one that was on sale. Now, here's the thing. In terms of this copy, I don't know if this is working. The one that was on sale, you maybe don't want to include that if you're putting something for sale on sale. You understand what I mean? Like, you're selling against something that's, cheap, but then you're immediately cheapening your own product. Don't fucking do that. What I did here after this question to try to illustrate using this particular context is gradualization. This is a sales technique and it's a writing technique. You want to emphasize drama. You want to actually get people very curious about the answer to this question. The way you build curiosity is not by answering every question that you pose, rhetorical or otherwise, immediately. Because what curiosity could have been built? I also personally would have reversed these. The second woman did the thing that sucks, but this woman, the woman who spent her Saturday night chilling, well, she did something different. You can create all sorts of open loops with stories this way. Yeah, this feels more like it could be VSL kind of copy. Like, you would see this like while scrolling through Facebook or Instagram. Somebody remembers. Jab, jab, cross. Absolutely. Why are tired kids yelling? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Shaw. I'll have to read the Civil War one. That is a hole in my knowledge. Kids will only get older. The time you spend with them laughing, reading bedtime stories, playing in parks will someday be distant memories. What is your time worth it to you? Okay. Here's the thing. Once you introduce that there's a product, there's a timer. It's just a clicking timer. Because the moment that somebody realizes, oh, this is selling me something, you're running out of time. You're going to lose people just exponentially. People are just going to tick down. So if you're not presenting some sort of exciting new information, if you're not building more intrigue, you're running into trouble. And so this is especially true if you're going to turn this into a VSL. If you're like 4 out of 5 women, your time is worth making a change. You'll be amazed by how quickly Swift Clean works. This transition feels a little rockier to me. And so what I would recommend doing is like having a more formal like introduction to Swift Clean. Like, what is Swift Clean? Was there a discovery? Is there some other story there? Like, this presents the, inspired, admired, like aspirational self that the person wants. But then you need to sort of like create loops. You need to subvert and go, take an off ramp onto another story. You have to keep the suspense, keep the desire to learn more growing and growing. The moment you pivot to, if you're like 4 out of 5 women, your time is worth making a change. You'll be amazed by how quickly SwiftClean works. What the fuck is the person reading this at this point is going to go, what the fuck is SwiftClean? You'll say, this is the wisest purchase I've made all year. No, they are not. They are not going to say that. People are going to immediately click off. That's called, not future pacing, but there's a specific term for that where it's like, listen, if you buy this thing, I know you're going to love it. Most copy has risen to the level of sophistication where you can't just get away with saying that directly anymore. You have to sort of like imply it. You have to put the B in subtle is what I'm trying to say. So things to keep in mind. SwiftClean works hard so you don't have to. It makes grease disappear so you'll have more time for what matters. Now, I just reread for the 3rd time Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins. And one of the things that he points out, you know what? I'm just going to pull up Scientific Advertising. I'm just going to do that. That's a thing that I'm going to do. Let's go to Scientific Advertising. And let's go to the chapter on specificity. Things too costly, art and advertising, tell your full story, being specific. To say, best in the world, lowest prices in existence, etc., are at best simply claiming the expected. All of this is claiming the expected. But superlatives of that sort are usually damaging. They suggest looseness of expression, a tendency to exaggerate, a carelessness of truth. They lead readers to discount all the statements that you make. Better are claims that are more specific. The final result of testing and comparing 130 formulas multiplies itself in lather 250 times, softens the beard in 1 minute. Use the world over is a very elastic claim. Then one advertiser said, used by peoples of 52 nations, and it won. Specificity wins in advertising. The reason why this copy kind of sucks, if you're like 4 out of 5 women, that just feels like a loose claim. What if SwiftClean degreases things 3.8 times faster? We can run that experiment. You can run that experiment. You go buy shitty, like say you're a copywriter and you get hired by SwiftClean to make a VSL for them. Go to the store, buy Procter & Gamble or Clorox or whatever, and then get a big plastic vat and then degrease it and then time both and see how fast SwiftClean degreases something compared to some other name brand. Actually get specifics on this. Don't just write copy to write copy. Don't just say stuff. This is all stuff that ChatGPT can do. You want to do the stuff that ChatGPT cannot do. And guess what that is? Being really fucking specific. Finding the things, the claims, the proof that nobody else has ever found. Again, ChatGPT and other AI writing tools, they just pull from training data, from what's in the past. So if you actually take the time to figure stuff out, to find stuff, to find out what specifically makes something better, your copy's going to be stronger. I love you too, Cody. Cody is one of my favorites. He is somebody that I mentored, I want to say 4 years ago. 4 years ago, and he has since just blossomed. He's written copy for like every major financial publishing house like in the world at this point. So very, very cool. Like if you guys are on Discord, hit up Cody. He is very knowledgeable. He's extremely kind. Great story. Great dude. So, and now I get to make fun of Cody and basically say like I just sent a whole bunch of people his way to go talk to him. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this. We have interesting story, but the two big problems here that we're facing is a lack of gradualization, like a disinterest in keeping the magic show going, which you have to do in copy, and then a sort of, how should I say, fallback onto very generalized claims that would be much stronger with more specificity. So, Kristen, those are the things that I would suggest to you to improve in this. Now, what could this be? This could certainly be converted into a VSL or a Facebook ad. But here's the thing with VSL and Facebook ads. You would want to write, let's see, how many words is this? 265? Double to triple this word count for a script. Make sure that you have visual cues, and then you would want to write between 5 and 10 per day. And that's the usual output for somebody who's going to be writing a lot of Facebook ad VSLs. So, guys, keep this stuff in mind. Like, it's one thing to write one piece of copy, but the level of production that you need to be ready to do for certain kinds of copy that you write varies wildly. All right, let's move on to this. Oh, we got a toddler carrier. I love it. The product is a toddler carrier, and these are some UGC scripts, so user-generated content scripts, Facebook for it. Right now, I feel they are pretty bland. Script 1. All right, let's zoom in so everybody can see. Yeah, absolutely. I've used it too. Like, I've used it as part of a body section in a sales letter before. You know, I've used it in reports that I've written. Imagine there are two investors, and then you just describe like both of them doing the exact same thing and then experiencing a wild difference. What was the big difference? One invested in this thing versus one investing in this thing. I've used that structure, that template very many times. So script 1 for these Facebook ads. My 40-pound toddler feels weightless in this. Are these video ads? Yeah, UGC scripts. Let's wait. Let's one strap, 5 seconds. Watch. Wrap. Click. Done. No back pain. No tired arms. 15,000 moms switch this month. 40% off ends tonight. Plus, get a second one half off. Tap now. Your arms need this. Now, the answer to this is no. I've had a computer. I've been a computer geek ever since I was 5 years old. I legitimately would boot up a word processor from MS-DOS. All right. So I was never big into handwriting. My handwriting has always been terrible, but I've always been a very good typist. So for me, my mental connection with that writer's high is via typing. And I also think I just gave away how old that I am. I used to play the Back to the Future game in MS-DOS. I used to play Shuffle Puck on an old Apple SC2. God damn, am I old. Oh, fuck. Anyway, script 1. My 40-pound toddler. Here's the thing. These feel very short. That's fine. I don't know if this is where I'd start. And I think I've commented on some of your Facebook video ad copy before. And the thing that I said before was you really needed to work on your hooks. My 40-pound toddler feels weightless in this. I can see that working. I think that wrap, click, done is better. I also think that like a scroll stopper of like somebody almost dropping their toddler, trying to get them into a not very good baby carrier would be a good scroll stopper. Like imagine like, tired of like, the things that like don't even work. Or like, most baby carriers don't even work right. And then like the baby's like it freeze frames with the baby like, ah. So like there's a lot of things that you could do that's fun here. The thing is like you really want to foreground your strongest possible hooks. This all just feels, like you say, they feel a little bland. And so to punch them up, you really have to think of like, what is the first piece of visual information a person's going to get when they watch this? Because that's the thing that's going to halt them in their tracks. Be like, oh shit, I need to pay attention. Is that happening here? I'm not sure. I don't think so. This is going to... Facebook will jump down your throat if you make a claim like this and then the page is still up a day later. So be cautious about having false urgency. 40% off ends tonight and then it's still 40% off 5 days later. That'll get you in a little bit of trouble. Not very much. Plus, get a second one half off. Yeah. I would say plus get a second one for dad half off as well. These you got to think about these things. A person is not going to be moved by get a second one. Why would I need a second one? Plus get a second one for dad half off. Now, oh yeah, all right. I see the reason for this. Very cool. All right. Script 2. Okay, so this is going to be like a PAS structure. I can already tell from line 1. My arms were killing me from carrying my toddler. Then I found this 5-second solution. Watch how it works. One strap around. Click. My 40-pound toddler feels weightless. Maybe not. Yeah. If you're going to present a problem, agitate a little bit. And again, like I think that actually showing and demonstrating like the problems that people have with baby carriers is a thing. There's a subreddit. Oh God, what is it? It's like clips from infomercials of people failing at the most basic things in life. Now, here's the thing. Knock that stuff all you want, but they work. Watch a lot of infomercials, especially ones that sell novelty products, because they are all solving problems that do not really exist until you see somebody bumble fucking their way through loading a dishwasher. Like you'll see these infomercials and like people will be like loading the dishwasher and be like, oh God, they're just like sweating and then shambles and like, how do I stick the fork in the, and then like it explodes with fire and like, a whole thing of sex toys from the previous homeowner come flying out. It's all because you didn't have this magical dishwashing like installation kit or whatever. Go watch infomercials. Most of them are not that extreme, but I'm definitely referring to one in particular, the one that exists in my mind. And what you're going to find is that you'll get a lot of inspiration for these sorts of hooks. So like, just as if you're going to write long form copy, you want to read a lot of sales letters. If you're going to write a lot of emails, you want to read a lot of email copy. You just want to fill your brain with the kinds of things that apply. Now, one way to do this is to watch a lot of YouTube VSLs. Facebook VSLs. The alternative is to go from what inspired the genre to begin with and what still works to this day. Look into infomercials. You will get so many ideas writing this kind of copy from infomercials. Now, I've given you a couple of different ways that you can escalate things to make it feel a little bit less bland. Here, I'm going to read the script 3, but like one thing that I would just recommend is like finding places where you can either add specificity or like kick up the notch or like really present a scene of somebody like who really needs this solution. Let's go into script 3 and then we'll move on. Physical therapists discovered why traditional carriers destroy your back. It is not your toddler's weight. It's where the weight sits. So watch this breakthrough. One ergonomic strap. right here, it's not this, it's not this. And then what I would do, instead of going straight into the product, I would do an actual anatomical demonstration. I learned this from a recent VSL that I love. I fucking love this VSL. It's an anti-snoring VSL that sells these like jaw forward things that stop snoring, that prevent your tongue from collapsing to the back of your throat, causing you to snore. I love this VSL. Like, every single part of it is so good. One of the things that it does is talk about the things that cause snoring and the reasons why normal snoring methods suck ass. And then what it does is it hard cuts to like actual graphics and actual interviews of a person talking about, like, an expert talking about what is really behind snoring and what causes snoring. This spot right here is an opportunity to do that, to have an open loop cutaway that delivers a little bit of value. Now, I've talked to you guys before about this, like when it comes to VSL ads and a lot of like more short form ads that are working right now. The things that's really working right now is giving a taste rather than a tease. Right now, this is giving neither. It's just, here's a thing, and also you can just buy this thing, and it redistributes the weight. There's no intrigue there. There's no build-up. There's no feeling of like, oh, I've learned something. I've grown from this. Like, oh, snap. Like, that explains it. There's no dopamine release. And you as a copywriter, you need to become an expert in milking people's dopaminergic glands. I'm eventually going to have like the thumbnail of like me like milking dopamine teats. We'll have a whole video about that. Anyway, but I'm sure you guys understand what I'm trying to say, which is just like, this feels too short. And the reason why it feels bland is because it's rushed. And as the composer Gustav Mahler once said, if it feels like the audience is getting bored, go slower, not faster. And this is a good spot where you can actually give people a taste of information that would inspire them and delight them. And then you segue into this by talking about a discovery, a way of leveraging this new anatomical knowledge, so that way the audience actually feels invested in and part of the discovery of this particular ergonomic strap. Do you see what I'm trying to do here? Yeah, there's no tension. It doesn't make the reader thirsty. And that's a big thing. That's why it feels bland. It's rushed. It doesn't take it. Can you show us the video sales video? The snoring one? By the way, Victor, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. Here, let me see if I can pull up that sales letter. I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to get through everybody's copy today. I do have a lot of work that I need to do tonight. But let me pull up. If I can find it. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to find this for you guys in Copy We Like from Eolithic Frustrum. I'm not speaking. Here. I found it. Let me see. Now, am I able to actually show the sound? Okay. I'm going to see. Can you guys hear this? I want to make sure that my share screen, Chrome tab, Instagram. There we go. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. This ad is really good. We're not going to watch the whole thing. But
these, make you breathe better.
Here, I'm going to just restart this.
The biggest myth about snoring is when people say snoring is a nose problem. This is what your throat looks like when you're snoring. You want to take that from this to this.
These, make you breathe better and open your nostrils, but don't stop the tissue vibration in your throat, which is the real cause of snoring. These special pillows don't do anything. Your airway is still blocked. This works, but it's expensive and everyone hates it.
These anti-snoring solutions only lead to more frustration, exhaustion, and fights in the bedroom. They only treat the symptoms of snoring.
Look at everything that's happened in just the first 30 seconds. What have we've seen horrific images, like gross images of people getting a finger shoved all the way in their nose. We've seen like ENT videos. We've seen so much has happened in just a few seconds. And then we cut to an expert talking about like the actual problem behind snoring. There's so much going on in this.
Sleep apnea. You might feel like you're breathing better when you use them, but snoring is not a breathing problem.
Snoring is not a breathing problem. Look at that. We're educating people.
It has nothing to do with your nose, your weight, sleeping position, or even if you breathe through your mouth.
Look at that. These are all common myths, common misconceptions that you are dispelling immediately. These are all notions that people have. And when people are told, like, listen, these myths that you have, like, especially if they're shakeable beliefs, like, people want to pay attention. They're like, oh, like, I always thought it was this. It's not.
The root cause of snoring is your jaw relaxing and falling backward while you sleep. It just pulls the tongue and soft tissues, which block the air.
And that's what right there, what we just saw was what I'm talking about when I talk about, like, give people a taste. I want to do a whole YouTube video just about this VSL. Like, it's really a masterclass.
Away. So when air passes through it, it creates the vibration we all know as snoring. Now, this steals oxygen from your brain and body every single night. And if left untreated, snoring could lead to serious health issues like chronic fatigue, frequent headaches, heart problems, and even brain damage.
Now, how is that? How many of you, young copywriters, young bucks, would probably start an ad with like, do you have a problem with snoring? Did you know that, untreated snoring could actually cause breathing problems, even brain damage? Most of you would be tempted to like open your ads that way to, accomplish what you're talking about, that whole agitating the problem that you're trying to emphasize kind of thing. Most of you would probably not have the balls to start the way that this ad does, but that's why this ad is pulling, last I checked, speaking to somebody who does know, close to about $2 million a month. All right.
Not to mention the impact on family, work performance, and your relationships.
However, now that we know that the jaw is the key to silencing your snores for good, you have two options. The first,
and look at that, right into a two options close. Again, like, all of you have seen this stuff in copy before. It's not doing anything new. It's just doing the things you all know better.
is to force air down the throat. That's what CPAP machines do, but they're also uncomfortable, expensive, bulky, and let's be honest, no one likes them. The better option is to keep the jaw forward in its natural position so that the tongue can't fall backwards and the airway stays open for smooth breathing and no snoring. This shocking discovery, meaning that the root cause...
Look at that. This shocking discovery. Again, we've just planted a bug in people's brains. Now when people go to their, a dinner party or a cocktail party or whatever, and the subject of snoring comes up, the person who sees this ad is going to be like, actually, I heard that snoring is caused by the jaw relaxing because, you have all these soft tissues in the back of your throat. We've just given somebody a piece of value in our advertising. We've taught them something. That's what I mean by milking those dopaminergic glands. That's what's going to keep people watching.
Cause was the jaw, led to the invention of MADs. MAD is short for mandibular advancement devices, which are custom mouth guards that manage snoring by moving the jaw forward, opening blocked airways, and stopping snoring at the source.
Stopping snoring at the source. Pretty good.
They're more comfortable than CPAP machines, allowing air to flow freely through your throat without any force, and you can take them with you anywhere. But here's the catch.
Here's the catch. Yeah. Well, I want to highlight this comment. Snoring is a natural thing our bodies started doing when we lived in the wild to ward off predators. No, it fucking didn't. Bullshit. That's some evolutionary psychology nonsense. What the hell kind of statement is that? That's nonsense. And we know that snoring does restrict breathing because any asshole can get a VO2, like oxygen saturation detector, and can just see that somebody with sleep apnea, their oxygen levels decrease when they're snoring. So, oh God, fake internet experts bother me. But yes, almost every single sentence in this particular VSL is a heavy hitter. We're not going to play the whole thing. I wanted to show that as an example of like what these could do a little bit better. Yeah. And whoever wrote that VSL represented the product absolutely perfectly. Super good. And like if you notice it, if you actually like write out the copy in there, you'll notice so many common twists of language and common tropes that you will frequently see in a lot of different ads. And it really is just how they're structured and what they're specifically referring to that gives them that power. Yeah, right? It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's my advice for these particular VSL scripts. I hope that was helpful. I hope that sort of gave you some advice. But really, focus on your scroll stoppers. Like, listen, like, I'm the it depends guy. I'm the nuance guy. But I'm gonna say, like, no it depends, no nuance. Like, if you can improve your scroll stoppers as a Facebook VSL writer, you're going to sell more, even if the rest of your copy kind of sucks. And the reason for that is because in that particular medium, with those particular ads, the biggest thing that you can do is capture attention. If you can't capture attention, you've got nothing. So keep that in mind. All right, I've got like maybe one or two left in me, and then I'm going to have to like apologize and like gently excuse myself. I've been on stream since, basically for the last 7 hours. So I'm going to have to bow out without finishing everything. All right, let's look at Mario. So this is one for International Living, which is a magazine that specifically talks about like how people can like become expatriates, like they can live abroad, the best places to live abroad. It's a magazine for people who dream of like having an international retirement. Very niche subject. Really, really was at its heyday in the 80s and 90s. But how do I say this politely? The types of people who respond to direct response advertising nowadays tend not to want to leave the United States. Yeah. Anyway. For whatever reason that may be. All right. So context. I've tried my hand at writing an email lift for an International Living sales letter. Unfortunately, I don't have the link to the sales letter anymore, but it was recently published. I pulled all the details mentioned in this lift from the sales letter, including the testimonial from Sarah. Okay. Your lavish vacation in the new Caribbean without the hefty price. Many Americans aren't even aware of this paradise. This I would try to tighten up. So lavish new Caribbean vacation without a hefty price ? Would probably work a little bit better. Do I know that for a fact? No. Have I seen condensations like that work a little bit better in the past? Generally, yes. So things to keep in mind. Look for opportunities to tighten. Is that an absolute thing? No. This by itself it's fine. Not the greatest, but it's okay. Many Americans aren't even aware of this paradise. I mean, many Americans aren't aware of much of anything at all, so that doesn't surprise me. Dear International Living reader, imagine yourself lounging in the sun with a margarita in hand, feeling the powder soft sand under your feet, gazing at bright blue crystal clear waters and savoring the warm tropical breeze on your skin, all while affordably staying at exotic resorts. I understand what the sentence is doing. This is doing an International Living thing. They love to sort of paint the picture in the reader's mind. Let me see if I can pull up a good International Living lift, like one that exists. Might have it under my other email. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I don't have them in that particular email inbox, so I'll have to get it somewhere else. But anyway, International Living does a lot of this kind of stuff. This sentence is too long. It's a good disruption. Like, people earlier were asking about like different ways that you can disrupt in an email. Presenting a really compelling, evocative image is one way to do it. You can disrupt people and get people's attention that way, but only if they actually read the sentence. And what we found time and again in email and digital writing is that if your sentences are too long, people will not read them. That is something that you need to keep in mind. Always, always, always. You feel like you could be in the Bahamas, Aruba, or St. Bart's, except you're actually embarked on a fantasy vacation in this little-known paradise called the New Caribbean. Not New Caribbean, which for most Americans isn't even on their radar. This feels like it could have been copy taken straight from the sales page, to be completely honest with you. I've read a lot of International Living copy, and this feels like it was ripped from the page itself. The best part, you can indulge in luxury experiences like sipping fine wines from Tuscany, feast on lobsters from Canada. So really quickly, I'm not going to focus on this too much. Give your copy a line edit before you submit it for Whetstone Wednesday. Like, I don't want to be crossing your T's and dotting your I's and telling you that you like missed words and stuff like that. It's a waste of everybody's time. Foie gras from France and celebrity chef restaurants. Book your own hilltop mansion with an infinity pool, panoramic ocean views, and a personal chef, or host a 5-day party, family and friends aboard your own super yacht. But what about the price? Well, everything mentioned is possible without breaking the bank. Take Sarah, for example. Your normal $1,000 a night stay in the Caribbean is around 70% less here. Butler service and your own pool included. Give yourself a proofread, give yourself a line edit, make sure that that your copy is clean and reads easily. Bargains like this is why travel insiders are raving about the New Caribbean. Discover more inside our time-sensitive presentation. Click here. So, International Living does a couple of things. They will sell the newsletter, the magazine, and have guides for like different travel destinations and like how to navigate them, how to, probably get good vacations and deals and stuff like that. So that's one way that they market. Another way that they market is they coordinate with a business called, what is the name of that? Well, the Guru is run at McMahon, and it's basically a real estate marketing agency. And what they do is they partner with developers in all of these up-and-coming, like, paradisical, hedonistic areas, and sell pre-development condos to people who either want to retire or who want an investment property. So that's another thing that they do. Another thing that they do is they will like sort of have the sales letter lead off with a bonus report. Like it'll be describing all these different cool places that you can go to for really, really super cheap. Hey, do you want more information about how to set up these vacations or, take advantage of these hacks for you? Buy this book about this thing, the New Caribbean, etc. Oh, by the way, it comes free when you sign up for a subscription to International Living. That's how they get you. Newsletters, magazines. That's my bread and butter. That's my wheelhouse. That's how you do it. You sell the bonus, don't sell the product. Anyway, now here's the thing. Could this work for International Living? Yeah. Here's the problem, though. And without seeing the actual sales page, I might be talking out of my ass. But I have a strong suspicion, just based on the International Living promos that I've read before, that a lot of this probably taken from the promo. Here's the problem with that. If you read something in the email and then reads the same thing on the sales page, you've lost all the persuasive and compelling evocative power that it would have on the sales page. You see what I'm saying? The actual persuasion, the architecture of persuasion on the sales page is deliberate. And it's powerful for a reason. And if you sap some of that power to put it into the email, well, your conversions will go down. And you might have a high click-through rate and then low conversions. And then you're going to get blamed for that. They'll be like, oh, I mean, you definitely got people to click, but nobody bought. And that's a big problem. And so these are things that you want to keep in mind. You want to tease and build intrigue for something, but you don't want to steal power away from the thing that you're actually clicking and linking to. These are all things that you have to keep in mind as an email copywriter. So is this working? It's okay. It's not great. Is this working in the context of like lifting to a sales letter that would have a lot of the same appeals? Absolutely not. So these are things that you want to keep in mind. And then finally, give yourself a line edit. Okay. I'm exhausted, guys. I have a lot of copy left. Maybe I'll find the time to do another stream later this week to go over the rest of it. But I'm out of gas. My throat hurts. Maybe it's because I have like sick, gross toddler children. But I think I'm going to call it a night and relax a little bit. Everybody who I did not get to, I apologize. I will try to make it up to you in some sort of way. Reach arounds for everybody. I promise. And I'll try to do that over the next few days. I'm flying to Los Angeles on Friday. And then I should have time next week to either do this, but I might, while I'm flying, have time to go over everything. We will see. I hope that the actual feedback that I gave to you guys up to this point has been helpful and insightful. I hope that my horrible mess of cables and computer detritus has not been too distracting, nor the pile of shit that I have on my side desk. I guess it would be a credenza. This would be a credenza. Do you guys have any questions for me before I go, or like anything that you want to know or that I can help you with immediately before you lose me for a little bit of time? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry to disappoint, but you would not be the first woman that I've disappointed. Thank you, Shaw. Thank you very much. Again, I sincerely appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. No? Is no an okay answer to this? I promise to make it up for you, and I promise to actually go through everything. In the Discord chat, I have put a little green checkbox next to everything that I did cover, and then I'll be able to pick up pretty easily from there. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. I did this as well. All right. That disgusts me. No, don't thank me. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you all for what you guys do. I really hope that it's helpful. I hope that these streams are helpful as well. All right. I'm out of here. Goodbye. See you later.